watchers, welcome to Perth Watch, your horology channel, broadcasting from right here in Perth, Western Australia. Today I have the pleasure to feature a tourbillon. Of course it's not going to be a Swiss tourbillon, at least I don't anticipate doing a Swiss tourbillon for quite some while, if ever. It is a Chinese tourbillon, but I think it's got possibly a reliable movement in it. Today's watch comes in this, I guess, very generic shopping bag type of package. So guys, let's flip it around and take a closer look at today's piece. Alright guys, I have put it in this shopping bag which the watch came in, AESOP Tourbillon, which doesn't really mean anything. It's really just a phonetic translation of AESOP, which presumably takes from the fables, the fairy tales. So some sort of fairy tale magic about this watch. Yi Ronghuang, I presume, is a celebrity, but I actually don't know who he is. But I take it he's a brand ambassador. Corny kind of titles and descriptions here, as you typically get from Chinese watches. Many of them. You just wonder why don't they just get an English, native speaker to just read over their marketing material to make it sound actually like English. Okay, so there's a kind of this dark brown strap, which the watch actually came in. I didn't like that going with the watch, so I swapped it out with the black one which they provided, which is kind of nice, nice of them to provide an option. Okay, so this is the box, and I'm just gonna slide it up. And in terms of spinnability, on this table, not the most spinnable, probably just a 2.5, because it's a little bit frictiony. It's a bit grippy, this faux carbon fiber look there, AESOP on the box. Now, before we get into that, the instruction manual actually comes in a gold envelope, which is kind of interesting. Tourbillon, that's literally just tourbillon. Tourbillon, 手表, which really just means tourbillon watch, really. That's what that says. And then another corny phrase that kind of means something like the cherry on top, icing on the cake, or something like that. About the watch. All right, now instructions is kind of, well, I guess it's really trying to guarantee you some sort of service warranty and a little bit of instructions on how to operate this tourbillon. Right, I'm not going to read that out, of course. You guys can pause and look at that if you want. So, box-wise, now at the top here, it does come with a cleaning cloth, and I haven't unwrapped this, but I guess that's fairly nice looking. You can scan that and look at what else is in there, and a blank warranty card. So, is there a phone number here? It's not even a phone number, so how are you going to claim this or address? I don't know. Probably it's not really functional in any sense. Okay guys, so let's just take this apart and show the watch to you guys in closer, beautiful detail here. So this is the AESOP Tourbillon, or one of the AESOP Tourbillons. They do have other models which they have come up with, and some of them actually have AESOP on there. This one is almost like a generic watch. It doesn't say the brand anywhere, and apart from tourbillon on the dial there, doesn't seem to have much in the way of details at all. But it's going to be labeled the AESOP Tourbillon, or at least one of their tourbillon models. Now, the full MSRP is listed at around $695. You probably don't want to grab it for that. You probably want to wait for a discount, and I think I checked last night and it was 500 USD. At times AESOP tourbillons go for under 400. You probably want to wait for it to get to around the 400 or under, and that's realistically the discussion price that this should come under. Okay, so first up, let's talk about the movement. The movement is really quite something, isn't it? This is, as far as I can tell, they don't tell me, they tell me that, oh, it's an in-house movement, AESOP make it, which is absolute crap. Of course, they do not, not possible in any way. So this is, I think, sourced from Hangzhou or PTS, because you can find essentially similar or exactly the same looking models if you look at the back of the watch here. And say the 3000 series on the PTS range, I think this fits into that because the beat rate is 28800, right? That you can prove that by running it through a time grapher. Stipulated jewel count is around 20, but that's completely unconfirmable. 40-hour reserve is realistically what this runs. It does run for nearly 2 days when I run it fully and leave it, sitting on my desk. The complications wise, really it's just that 6 o'clock tourbillon on display, and that's it really. There's no other complications, no date, not even a second hand, although you can count the tourbillon as a second hand because it's a 60-minute rotation, like many tourbillon are. Rated accuracy, of course, is unknown, but the detected accuracy is between +2 to +12 seconds per day, which in my book is absolutely acceptable to me. Okay, so moving on to the case then. So here we have a 43mm case here. The bezel is 40mm, so the bezel is smaller than the case or narrower than the case, but the full case width is 43mm. Thickness 12.5mm, so not bad at all for that tourbillon, taking up quite a bit of space there. 22mm lug width and lug to lug distance of 52mm between my thumbs there. Overall weight on leather strap 92 grams, so quite light really. Very definitely comfortable, very easy for me to forget that it's on my wrist at that type of weight there. Finishing wise, all right, all the top visible surfaces, the bezel, the top of the lugs, curving to the sides there, even the unsigned crown, and the top of the clasp, they're all polished finishing here, high polish finishing here. There is a circular brushing at the bottom, and look at that movement there. Isn't that something? That finishing, that kind of partial skeletonizing instead of having bridges. That is pretty good. So circular brushing at the bottom. It's got a screw down display case spec, as you can see right there on screen. The crown is just push, right? You can pull it out, push it in, and it winds very loudly, quite loudly, isn't it, at the 0 position there. So with that push crown, this watch is rated at on AliExpress 50 meters, on Amazon 30 meters. Go figure what it actually is. In any case, it kind of doesn't matter. Yes, you can, don't be afraid to splash water on it or maybe walk in a light rain, but you're not going to be taking this into any submersion anyway or shower with a leather strap. At least I wouldn't do that. It's not designed for that. Right, okay, so moving on to the dial. So the dial here is a printed dial, right? It's just a printed Starfield dark blue dial. They do have an Adventurine model as well, I think, or at least it was available before, and that might have been a better one to stick with different indices. But this one is a printed Starfield. They have raised or applied Roman indices, the numerals there, and it's got a raised chapter ring around the periphery as well as an applied tourbillon ring 60, kind of division ring around the tourbillon display there. The hands are polished alpha hands, and you can see it's actually slightly off center, right? It's not completely center because of the movement and the way they've chosen to mount this in the case. The hands are actually slightly closer to the 12 o'clock and further away from the 6 o'clock position here. The lume on this watch is only on the main hands. There is nothing else, nothing on the numerals or indices or anything on the tourbillon. A lume shot right here for you to see how it glows. It's not designed to last, and it doesn't last. But I suppose if you've gone from a brighter lume to a darker lume, it might function a little bit for you to be able to tell the time. Okay, on top of the dial is a flat crystal, right? Nothing more than that. It's a flat sapphire crystal, and that's what you're getting. Moving on to the strap then, I really got nothing much more to say about this really. What can I say about it? It's a crop pattern, supposedly stitched and genuine leather strap. It does taper from 22 to 18 millimeters, and it's got, actually this clasp has some nice guilloche
finishing on the inside there, which is really quite interesting because, you know, you're not going to see that part really when you're wearing it, but they've gone to the effort to make that. So push button butterfly deployant clasp is what we have here. Nothing too special there. You just kind of catch it on the hole of your choice and then you deploy it. And that's it, guys. That's the description. So, you know, snapping it on the wrist, this push button butterfly deployants are not bad. I actually don't mind it for the speed that it lets you put it on. Some people, if it's on the right position, it's okay. Other people, if it's in the wrong position, because it's going to sit in a certain angle on your wrist, might find it not comfortable. Okay, so there it is on the, I guess, the back side. That's how it looks like on my 17 centimeter wrist. That's the clasp, and there is the watch on the other side. No getting away from the fact that it's a large watch, but, you know, at 50 millimeters and this kind of formal look, it kind of just passes muster, I think. Okay, there it is, and then 12.5 millimeter thick. Just remember that. 43 millimeter diameter case there. Okay, so what have I enjoyed about this watch? What might you enjoy? Well, look, it's a freaking tourbillon, right? It is a tourbillon at, you know, at the most affordable price you can get a tourbillon. As far as I know, is under $400. You can get that. I don't think it ever goes under 300, but correct me if I'm wrong. I think if you can get it under 400 or around that price, it is a fair purchase. You're getting a working tourbillon. If it's a true Hangzhou movement, it should be reliable. They are one of the I guess ones that have been around for a while and seem to be working all right as far as my research shows. But let me know if you have direct experience with Chinese tourbillon movements. I would say that the case is pretty good, right? It's pretty well made. You know, the finishing, nothing much to fault really. They've gone for high polish, and at least there's some craftsmanship here in terms of the curves that has gone into the fashioning of this case. And I like the crown. The crown is, I guess, what you might call an onion crown. It's kind of just the right size, not too big, not too small. I don't think so. And it gives you an easy grip to wind the movement. So that's nicely done. What are the weaknesses? Well, it's kind of like the loudest movement ever. So I'm going to hold it closer. Not sure if you can hear that, but it's really loud. You know, I think I've never heard a movement that I can hear almost at arm's length from my head when I hold my arm out and it's sitting on my wrist here. So, you know, if you're going to be sneaky, you don't get this watch. You know, people will hear you from 15 meters away and there goes your surprise, you know. And if you're in a movie theater, people might turn around and look at you and tell you to, you know, shut that thing that's on your wrist. So just beware. It's definitely a very audible movement here. I think the aventurine effect that they have on their other model may have been a better choice. It probably better serves this motif, but you know, if you don't like that kind of star glitzy thing, then this might be a better choice. The water resistant is token, right? The strap is throwaway, really. I suppose you might say that. You can just swap it to something a lot better if you wish, and that's not a problem. You can do that. But you know, you're not going to get that wet, and so 30 meters maybe is okay in terms of the rating. There is a total lack of branding on this watch, right? Just tourbillon, and as I showed you on the case back there, you know, absolutely no writing whatsoever. So that kind of raises suspicion and a little bit of discomfort actually to me as to what exactly this is. Is this something that companies just grab? You know, is it just a factory piece? It probably is just a generic factory piece, and you know, you snap it into a box with your brand on it without even bothering to put your name on the watch. That's what it feels like, you know. But if you like generic, right, clean skin, if you will, maybe this is acceptable, particularly at a low price range. You know, the kind of entry $350 range. If you can grab it for that, you know, probably okay for a generic tourbillon Chinese watch. So there you go. That's my thoughts on this piece, guys. Let's turn it around now for the wrap up.
So there you go, guys. My review of the AESOP Tourbillon. I think it's probably looking like a fairly generic piece. It doesn't have branding in it, which, I think it does raise some suspicion in my mind at least, but it looks like it possibly does have a reputable / reliable movement in it. Let me know your thoughts about this piece. I think for a Chinese tourbillon with this level of movement in it, anticipate to play less than 400. I think if you get it for that price, I think you're getting something fair. And when I checked just last night, AESOP did have a tourbillon, or at least one of their models, on AliExpress for around that range. Maybe not this specific model. So guys, if you have any of these kind of watches with similar tourbillon or this specific tourbillon movements, would love to hear your thoughts and experiences, because this is the first one I have got. Now, I did review that manufacturer walled off piece with that Chinese tourbillon movement, but this one is different and definitely at a lower price tier. Guys, if you enjoy my videos, do consider subscribing. New content every week, always aiming to be objective and unbiased about all things horology. Thank you again for sticking with me, and as always, I'll catch you guys again next time.